And the bees are in the red bud over there. Oh, there's a big axis buck right there. Hey, beauty. I see you. Yeah, I do. It is March 26th, 2022. We have been away for several weeks enjoying spring break with our kids and grandkids. Just got back to Texas, and while it's been very, very dry and windy and dusty, looks like the bees are doing really well. We want to get back up to last summer's number of hives here in this apiary. We'd like to have 6 hives to maintain our ag exemption, and we ended up having to combine 2 of our 7 hives, bringing us down to 5. In the early spring of 2021, we got 3 marked queens. These were hygienic queens. We were really excited about getting them because we'd had good luck with hygienic queens in the past, but these queens performed very poorly. They had a bad laying pattern. Eventually we got laying workers who tried to take over, and the situation went from bad to worse as wax moths moved in, and you can see the damage on this frame right here with the wax moth cocoons and the webs that they built. Next image shows what happened when the robbers moved into these 2 weakened colonies, stole a lot of their resources, and a number of bees died as well. Let's move on from this sad scene to talk about how we can prevent robbing behavior, how we can anticipate that it might be about to occur, and how we can recognize robbing behavior when it's happening in our own colonies. For example, I want you to know that that big block of wood doesn't normally sit there in front of this entrance, but I had just put a super on top of this very strong nuke, and I wanted to close the entrance down. The easiest thing was just to put a block of wood there to not close it down, but to make it smaller so that it's less likely that robber bees are going to be able to get into the hive, and it's much easier for the home bees to defend the hive. You can tell that this was probably a good idea because we have a couple of dead bees in front of the entrance, and here at the top of the super we see bees trying to find a new way in. These are not the home bees. The home bees know how to get in, so these are bees who are hoping that they can get in there and get some nectar. I had put some sugar water there in the attic, and I had also added some Honeybee Healthy to that sugar water, which is a very bad idea because the odor of that Honeybee Healthy tends to attract the robbers. You can also tell from the pitch and tone of the buzzing that there's robbing going on, and if you don't stop the robbing quickly, it can spread to the other hives in the apiary. So close down those entrances, block off entrances as soon as you think there might be a problem. Here's an example with our bees in Kendall County. We have 3 hives at the top of the hill and 3 additional hives down near the road. We just added that blue super to the Happy Bee hive, and we took out the current entrance reducer and added a half entrance reducer. They're a strong hive, but we gave them a little bit of sugar water so they could build out comb in that new super. It's completely devoid of any kind of drawn comb. So we wanted to give them a head start with drawing out comb. And these other 2 sister hives might turn into robber hives. So we want to give them a chance to protect their entrance. The attic has all the open holes plugged with cork. All the other holes are backed up with screen, so robbers can't get in there. We do have an open entrance here, and I'm going to shove a nice friendly rock or a couple of sticks in there to make sure that robbers can't get in that way. We added that super last summer. Here we are now, spring 2022. Here's that super. We left it on the hive over the winter, and it's completely built out. But since we've disturbed the hive, we still need to make sure that we don't have to worry about robbers. So we've left a fairly small entrance for these bees. It was like this over the winter, and we're just going to leave it until things settle down from disturbing the hive. We're going to give this hive another super, check the sister hives and make sure that they're all safely protected from robber bees, and then go back down the hill, because just a few minutes ago we did a hive check on each of the 3 colonies down there. We came back over to these hives that are closer to the road that we had already opened and added supers to, and then put the lids back on, and we noticed a lot of, looks like, robbing behavior going on, and I'm getting hit. So I'm going to get back a little farther. Of course, we have several signs that there's robbing going on. The angry pitch of the bees' buzz, the fact that they are much more aggressive, and the sheer number of bees trying to get into the entrance of the hive over on the far right, the one that has the blue super on it. It's a different blue super from what we were seeing just previously, however. All the hives look strong, much stronger than they did last time we were here, and however, we see that they're very hungry. Hungry bees are quite likely to become robber bees, and we can tell that these are hungry because you see all those little brown, black looking splotches inside that top feeder on the ground. That was just an empty top feeder that we were going to take home and clean up, but there are probably 100 or so bees, and they're trying to dig up a little bit of leftover nectar. The same thing's going on over to the left of this bank of hives, where there's a plastic bottle that was also being used as a feeder, and the bees are all congregated there on that hive box trying to get some leftover nectar from the terrain around that plastic feeder. So we know that these are hungry bees. Moving around now to the other side of these 3 hives. These robbers are doing whatever they can to find an entrance, and we decided to leave this top entrance because they were such a strong hive, but clearly we need to fill that in. So we'll find some sticks or leaves or something to poke in there to close out that top entrance. Nobody's carrying anything in. They're just hoping to be able to carry some things out, so I'm going to get on it. Alright. Just found a bunch of bits of rotten wood and poked in the hole there. Then, to assuage my frustration, I looked over at the star comet hive, enjoying almost complete serenity. And it's because of their unusual entrance reducer. It's a combination mouse guard, ventilation, and robber preventer. And the way it prevents robbing behavior is that it has these little openings at the top. And you can open the one on the left and the one on the right, or either or close them when you're moving the hive. And the bees that live in the hive figure it out pretty quickly, but the bees who are trying to rob the hive have a hard time coming up with a way to overcome this strange obstacle of the plastic thing with holes in it but no hole that they're prepared to go through, if that makes any sense. Meanwhile, most of the bees in the apiary were defending their hives, and Jerry and I were doing what we could to provide ventilation for the bees while at the same time protecting them from the robbers. And since it is going to be in the 80s, take all the corks away. But there's a screen in there so you can see that these robbers can't get in. Now these bees could very well be home bees because they have been using that entrance for many months. But they will figure it out, and their sisters will let them in. But the sisters are busily defending this entrance down here. We decided to go get lunch and see if they would be calmer when we got back. And of course, they are calmer. It's been just about an hour, almost exactly an hour. And they've calmed down considerably. I think that those bees that look so frustrated up there trying to get into that little entrance in the blue super are home bees because there's no longer any fighting. There's no longer any frenzy. And thank goodness for that. So we'll put the straps on them. We'll remove the Varroa boards first because we just wanted to double check and make sure that their Varroa counts are okay. So we'll check those one more time. And button them up and head home.